To drive home that message. Tonight, about 10 million people are under tropical storm warnings. Beta is approaching Louisiana and Texas, threatening to bring heavy rain along with flooding and a storm surge as it makes its way inland tomorrow. Meteorologist Anthony Domo here now with the first check of our forecast. And Anthony, it seems like we were just talking about Sally, so this is bad timing.
That's right. Yeah, over the past few weeks, there's been a couple of very strong systems in the Gulf. First Laura and then Sally last week. But this system, Tropical Storm Beta, is likely not going to become a hurricane. So just mainly a big rain-making threat across the central Texas coastline. That should make landfall, looks like, between the next 24 to 36 hours, and then start to ride northward towards Houston while it weakens, but still providing a lot of rainfall for those folks around here. Minimal rainfall we have seen recently, and we won't have much going on, it doesn't appear, over the next several days. In fact, any meaningful rainfall, I think Janice holds off until next Sunday. So we've got about a week to go with very calm conditions. Clear skies right now. Here's a picture that was sent into our Facebook page earlier on. From Pier Marquette Beach as the sun was going down. What you're looking at here are some very high-level cirrus clouds working in from the west, as well as this haze of smoke that is returning as we speak from west to east, but very slowly. By the time you wake up tomorrow morning, there will be that haze across the Grand Rapids area, and that'll be sticking around into the afternoon, filtering our sunshine to start the work week. Temperatures right now in the mid to upper 50s, so it has dropped off after that high of 70 in GR, 72 in Kalamazoo, 73, I believe, in Muskegon today. We had spectacular sunshine, not a cloud in the sky, and very nice blue skies. Those will be going away, though, as I talked about, with that haze returning of smoke for tomorrow. And temperatures won't be dropping off as much overnight tonight. We're going to maintain a breeze around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Some scattered clouds and that haze overhead will prevent the big drop off. We'll still make it down into the mid upper 40s by daybreak tomorrow morning. Next system working across southern Canada that does not have a whole lot of oomph with it. And the cold front that is sagging southward from it into the central plains will be washing out. It will never be making it into our neck of the woods. So we're just going to continue on with this slow warm up over the next several days. And Janice, we could be mid upper 70s, I think, by Wednesday and into Thursday and really into next weekend. There's an outside shot. We could make a run at 80 degrees by this coming Friday or Saturday, probably cooler thereafter. We'll spell it all out in the main weather segment. Here's the day planner for tomorrow. 46 cool degrees to open. We'll have sunshine filtered by that smoke above. I'll have the full forecast coming up here in just a bit.
All right, see you then, Anthony. Thank you. Investigators have identified the man hit and killed while crossing the street in Kent County last night. Police say that 42-year-old Vincent Allegier was crossing Alpine Avenue around 8:30 when he was hit by a car that was heading south. He died there at the scene. Investigators say that factors like bad lighting, dark clothing, and no crosswalks contributed to that crash. Police say the driver, a 66-year-old man from Comstock Park, has been fully cooperating with the investigation. Meanwhile, the FAA is continuing to investigate a plane crash that killed 2 people in Ottawa County yesterday morning. It happened just after 6:30. After that two-seater took off from the Ottawa County Executive Airport. Dale and Joyce DeWeese from Zealand were both killed in that crash. A family in West Michigan is asking for the community's help to honor their daughter who drowned in a lake near Rockford this summer. Fox 7's Marisa Overley explains how you can pay it forward with Molly's cards.
It's a wallet-sized card that, from the front, may not mean much, showing just a picture of a young girl. But once flipped over, the card's intention is revealed, asking people to pay it forward.
When we see the cards, we're sad, but we're happy because people look at the card and see our daughter.
Meet Mark and Cindy Rasmussen. Their daughter, Molly, is the one on the card.
The favorite line of mine was always, when you finish doing what you're doing, can you take me to Starbucks or you take me to the gas station, get candy?
They describe the 16-year-old Forest Hills East student as fun-loving and social, always on the go. But this past June, everything stopped. Molly died while swimming with a friend at Lake Bella Vista. Her parents explaining she was an epileptic and had a seizure in the water.
There's just not a day or a second that I don't think about her.
But in the midst of their grief came Molly's cards. One of Cindy's former co-workers created them after Cindy asked people to do a random act of kindness instead of send more flowers to their family. They estimate more than 1,000 have been distributed. The hashtag FlyHighRas showcasing some of those acts online.
Saw a lady on social media that said she burst into tears because she had a horrible day, and someone in front of her bought their meal with a Molly card, and she burst into tears and was like, there's good in the world. So I mean, that's where it's really like, wow.
The family says with or without the card, though, anyone can take part.
Especially all the stuff that's going on in this world. It's really kind of connected people. It's kind of, it makes you, just, do something nice for somebody.
Saying no gesture is too big or too small.
It's the joy that it can bring someone. We loved it anyway, but now it's just, and I love that. I love that that's her legacy.
In Grand Rapids, Marisa Oberly, Fox 17 News.
Still ahead here at 10, he helps to encourage change in the community, and now he's asking that community for help.
It's just a waiting period. You're just waiting and hoping.
He's hoping for someone who might be a kidney donor match. You can see if you might be that person. The happiest day of her life turning to one of the most violent in just a matter of seconds. This bride from Metro Detroit is now working to help the victims of that massive blast in Lebanon.
Home 5 hours before my son at 15 put a .30-06 to his head and pulled the trigger.
And later, people with mental illness taking their lives just days after being released from hospitals. The push now in Lansing to cut down on the statistics and increase accountability. A judge is blocking President Trump's ban on WeChat downloads, at least for now. The Commerce Department has issued restrictions against both TikTok and WeChat, citing national security issues. But the judge says the ban represents a violation of free speech and that the Trump administration did not prove enough evidence to address national security concerns. The injunction against the ban comes after President Trump said Saturday that he approved a deal involving TikTok, Oracle, and Walmart. A man who is known for helping others is now in need of some life-saving help himself. Fox 17's Savannah Fish has his story tonight.
I am in stage 5 of kidney failure from years of high blood pressure and diabetes, and I am in need of a transplant.
Willie Patterson, husband, father of 2, and director of engagement at the nonprofit Link Up in Grand Rapids, has been on the transplant list for a kidney since December 31st, 2019, and has been on dialysis for 9 months.
It's just a waiting period. You're just waiting and hoping.
He's been told he could have to wait for a kidney for the next 3 to 5 years. Willie hopes by sharing his story, he can find his perfect match. And if not his, somebody else's.
There is such a need for testing live donors. But if we can connect residents to testing just to make sure or see if they're a match, we have a better outcome for others in our community that may lose their lives if they don't find a donor in enough time.
Willie and thousands of others are listed on the University of Michigan transplant list.
I'm having a hard time not being able to just go to the store and buy that kidney for him or, make it happen.
His wife, Tanae, has helped Willie every step of the way, working to find him his kidney match.
I pass out cards, I do flyers. I've contacted churches to pass out flyers with their food drive.
Now they just hope his story will reach the right person.
The first step is to make the call. Make the call and say, hey, I want to be tested to be a live donor for, Willie Patterson. And the first test is blood. They want to see if your bloods are compatible. And then from there, if your bloods are compatible, then you go into more in depth of testing.
Until then, they will wait and pray.
A routine every night when I go to bed, I make sure my volume on my phone is turned up loud. So when we get that call, we're ready. He will get a kidney. It's just a matter of God's timing. While we wait patiently, I just keep exercising my faith in advocating for him, and for people to get tested.
In Grand Rapids, Savannah Fish, Fox 17 News.
Well, if you want to see if you could be a donor for Willie, you can call the University of Michigan at the number on your screen or just head to fox17online.com for more information. We hope he gets that match. A woman from Metro Detroit whose wedding video went viral during that explosion in Lebanon is now raising money for victims of that blast. You probably remember these shots. Isra Al-Sablani was posing in her wedding dress in Beirut when the explosion happened last month. She lives in Troy on the east side of the state and had to leave her new husband behind in Lebanon when she returned back home because his visa still hasn't been approved. She is now working with state lawmakers like Senator Gary Peters on that issue. But meanwhile, Isra, who's actually a doctor, sprung into action helping the victims in the moments after that blast happened. She's now continuing her efforts by launching a GoFundMe to raise money and supplies, helping those who've been impacted in Lebanon. We have more information at fox17online.com. That blast at a storage facility, by the way, killed about 200 people, injured thousands more. Still ahead, families speaking out, saying that there were warning signs.
It is our responsibility as a state to identify any alarming patterns and use that information to put safeguards in place to protect folks.
It is something that lawmakers are now trying to get on the books when it comes to patients who die from suicide after being released from psychiatric hospitals, where that effort stands in Michigan.
Hey, Janice, a gorgeous Sunday we did see, but a few clouds started to increase over Lake Michigan. Also that haze of smoke from the western wildfires that's going to be around on Monday. I'll tell you what that means for your forecast in the week ahead. That's coming up.
They are the most vulnerable men, women, and children suffering from mental illness. And when they took their lives right after a hospital visit released them, state watchdogs never asked why they were released in the first place. But as Ross Jones from our sister station WXYZ reports, there are signs that that could be changing.
My bill addresses the tragic issue of people who die by suicide or unknown causes after treatment at a psychiatric hospital or unit.
Today, before a Senate committee in Lansing, a bill was introduced that would require the state to investigate the deaths of psychiatric patients occurring just days after a hospital released them.
It is our responsibility as a state to identify any alarming patterns and use that information to put safeguards in place to protect folks.
The bill was introduced by Senator Jim Ananich in direct response to a 7 Action News investigation revealing that since 2016, nearly 150 psychiatric deaths were reported to state watchdogs and never questioned.
Channel 7's Ross Jones is an investigative journalist, and he has done reports repeatedly over the years.
Michelle Burt's 15-year-old son Jonathan was released from Pine Rest Hospital after a 13-day stay. But for the last 6, up until the day before his discharge, Jonathan told staff he would take his life if he was released. The hospital still released him.
We were home 5 hours before my son, at 15, put a 30-06 to his head and pulled the trigger.
His death was reported to the state, but never investigated.
This bill is going to be crucial to get the information that we need to stop families from having to go through this. It's been 9 months and I still have no answers.
On October 12th, 2019, my big brother and hero committed suicide.
Also testifying was Amy Bingham Osinski. The night before her brother Kevin died, he had been released from a hospital emergency room.
10 hours later, he gave away his shoes to someone who needed them, put his organ donor card in his pocket, and jumped off his balcony. He was everything you want in this world, and he deserved better.
Unless we start investigating these deaths and analyzing the data, we will be making policy in the dark. We need to do something to make sure these horrible situations don't go ignored and continue to repeat themselves.
That was Ross Jones reporting. The bill already appears to have both the support of both parties. Right now, it's not clear when it will be back before the committee, but we will be sure to keep you updated. Still ahead here, a very unexpected patient for doctors in Detroit.
She's not a bad person. She just, she got some issues.
What police are now saying after a newborn baby was found in the trash and then left with a stranger at the hospital.
We started to kick up those temperatures today, hit 70 degrees in Grand Rapids, and we're going well above that for the next several days. So that cool spell we were in, it's gone. Just how warm does it get? And what about any rainfall around here? Forecast right after the break.
Tonight, the air quality in Washington state is improving. The rainy weather this weekend helped get rid of some of the residual smoke from the wildfires in the western part of that state. In fact, yesterday, officials in Seattle actually lifted the hazardous air quality warning, encouraging people to get outdoors. Anthony's back now with another check of our forecast. We saw some haze from those fires all the way out here last week. Anthony, will we see some more of that this week?
It's coming back as we speak, Janice. In fact, by tomorrow morning daybreak, I think we'll be noticing that in the Grand Rapids area. We had a few photographs sent in to us from along the lakeshore within the past several hours, and those have been representative of some of that haze that is appearing on the distant horizon. This is an image from Allegan, the Allegan sunset from Jody Byers. Take a look at this, and off into that far western horizon, you'll notice that, well, there is the haze starting to come back about, and also a few scattered high-level cirrus types of clouds have been out and about, and they will be into this overnight. But really, it's just mostly clear skies to, at worst, partly cloudy between now and daybreak. Temperatures, they were running on the milder side today after a high of 63 on Saturday. We did get to 70 in Grand Rapids, and that was just spectacular sunshine we had from start to finish. Not a cloud in the sky, and those blue skies seemed just especially blue today. A great way to wrap up the weekend. Look at these temperatures on board. Got to 68 in Lansing, 73 in Muskegon. Holland was at 70 degrees. Kalamazoo in the lower 70s, and Battle Creek not too far from there. The overnight lows were still chilly in the upper 30s to around 40 degrees. So we've had some really cool starts to days recently. Keep in mind, just a morning ago, we got down to 36 in Grand Rapids and had that pretty widespread frost to begin on Saturday. But that's a thing of the past as the overnights are beginning to warm up. And that'll be the trend into this coming work week each and every day. Temps around the Midwest and the Central Plains got really warm out there today. The Central Plains had some readings in the mid to upper 80s. We're not going to get quite that warm in the days ahead, but we will start to increase back into the mid to upper 70s. And we've got a shot to make a run at 80 degrees by later this week. You'll see that in the 7-day momentarily. The coolest temperatures on the right side of the map here, the warmest out to the west in closer proximity to those 80s I was talking about. Off into Nebraska and Kansas this Sunday afternoon. The flow is out of the southeast, and some light breezes out there around 5 to 10, maybe 12 or 13 miles per hour. Those will tend to slacken off a little bit more so into the overnight, but still maintain a light breeze as you wake up on Monday morning. We've got temperatures in the middle 50s, and these will come down into the mid to upper 40s to begin. 7 a.m., that'll be about our coolest temperature at 46. We're at 67 at noon, so making pretty decent progress. These are some strange icons that the computer gives you, but this is what it represents for hazy skies, and we will have those around. As we were talking about at the beginning of the segment, Janice tossing to me, hazy skies from the smoke returning from west to east across the viewing area, and the thickest smoke is going to be around and just north of Grand Rapids tomorrow, though it will make it southward into Kalamazoo and Battle Creek as well as the late morning turns into the afternoon. So sunny again tomorrow, but it will be a filtered or a dimmed level of sunshine versus the complete blue skies we had today. So smoky skies returning and not much rainfall in the forecast. High pressure in control across the board as we go forward. Here's a look at the map of the smoke as we speak. Most of it just across Lake Michigan, but by tomorrow morning 8 a.m. working in from the west, and by tomorrow afternoon the thickest part of that smoke will be overhead. Take a look at the temperatures as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday, arriving in the mid to upper 70s, and then probably a second spike here Friday and Saturday before we have a downturn into that following week. A weather system over southern Canada working eastward. That will have no impact on us. The cold front draped southward from it is going to be washing out, and it'll never come through here. So a warm pattern will eventually give way to a shower or thunderstorm by next Sunday. But Janice, it's going to take 6 to 7 days to get to that point. So enjoy this stretch of weather. You never know how much more this we can get into October. I'll have more coming up.
Absolutely. Like that stretch of 70s. Anthony, thank you. A woman is